This video or podcast is sponsored by Amazon Music. Thousands of podcasts and shows are made every day, from the conversations of Joe Rogan to the crimes of Morbid, and music by 50 Cent and Sabrina Carpenter. Amazon Music has the right taste in music, podcasts, and shows for you. With a growing audience of 52.5 million people using Amazon Music every day, you can help in a contributing way to benefit this new version of what was once called radio. With thousands of music and podcasts to listen to, you can listen to our podcast too, keeping things in the middle. And with you signing up, listening to one of our episodes on your app or on your computer, you can help my podcast grow to become an ever-expanding podcast group and become a new member of our listening on Amazon Music. Please use our offer down in the description below, and it would help me a lot because it would help me earn a little bit of money. Amazon Music, the site where you need to go to listen to podcasts, stories, and music that may have you bopping the whole night through. Now, let's get to the show.
There are a lot of rumors out there. What's true? Fact. What's not? Fiction. You can't believe everything, but believe this. 6 News sorts it out. Get the truth. Fact or fiction. On your side. Only on 6 News.
Hey everyone, this is Braydyn Bear. We welcome you back to the first episode I've posted, I think since it was April of 2025, I think 24, but I'm not really for sure. I wanted to update you guys on a few things as we welcome you to the Keeping Things in the Middle podcast, along with the special edition of the Indianapolis 500 podcast, a Borg Warner production. You can follow me on social media at following me on Twitter at Lents, L-E-N-T-S, Braydyn, B-R-A-Y-D-Y-N. You can also follow me on my Instagram page, B-R-A-Y-D-Y-N, 98.5 AM/FM, and follow me on Substack and anywhere else you get your socials. You can also listen to this episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is an important episode because I was going to actually air this on the Indy 500 podcast about a few weeks ago before the actual race. I was even going to have that as a Sunday morning special right before the Indy 500. And I ended up not doing that because I had won a free trip to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and was able to watch the Indy 500 with me and my family. And I never got around to doing this episode for a while now. I did want to remind you all that we actually are going to be moving the Unchained Mikey Co podcast to July. I mean, the end of this month to the beginning of July. So we're going to have some time this week to record, actually next week to record. And so this is a special episode first of my interview with my good friend Luke Lehe. And then after this episode wraps up, I wanted to let you know that the Mikey Co podcast will be moved to late June, early July, and that the first episode of the Elizabeth Von Buchler podcast, which I promised on here to publish a few weeks ago, will not be published at all by request by my family. So we're not going to come out with the Von Buchler podcast. And we are going to come out with the Mikey Co podcast, but that won't be for a little while. And so, again, we're not going to air the Von Buchler podcast. We're going to air the Mikey Co podcast, but later this month. And so today, speaking of today, we're going to be talking to Luke Lehe, my good friend that we've known since our days in junior college. He's now a very successful businessman. He's also running finance. He runs his own firm. He's a very successful gentleman, very successful compared to half the people that I went to community college with. And he and I were very motivated. We've been good friends for over 5 years, but very motivated. We want to do good in our lives, really good in our lives, make our families proud, and we're growing and expanding. And at the end of this podcast, you're going to find it very interesting because he's going to talk about careers, dreams, admirations, how he switched from being a chef, which he majored in at Vincent's before majoring in chef and working in the kitchen again at Purdue University. And then he ended up working for a kitchen, got really burnt out from that, and then went up the ranks in the financial world and is now working as a financial broker in working part remote, part in person in Carmel, Indiana. So he works in investments, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm going to make this short and sweet. I don't want to take up too much of the time. But yeah, this is my interview with the great Luke Lehe, one of my good friends that we've known for 5 years. We have a common interest in basketball, so you're going to hear a lot about that. This was recorded right before the Pacers went to even the Eastern Conference Finals of the NBA playoffs. I think this might have been the night before Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where Halliburton hit a shot from three and it later counted as a two, and they went into overtime, and the Pacers won. So I do know I recorded this the Wednesday before that game, which happened the next night, which was the Pacers and Knicks. And believe it or not, I won the Indy 500 tickets that night as well. So shout out to our sponsor, Built Basics. Built Basics has clothing and merchandise just for you. Built Basics is offered us the tickets for the Indianapolis 500, offered us travel and all that good stuff. And they did such an amazing job at hosting the event for me and my family to go visit Connor Daly and Stingray Rob's team. Better Basics is our sponsor of today's video. Better Basics, better do it right. And so here is the interview with Luke Lehe. And I might not come back in the end just because I want to hear the full interview, and I'm not usually the type to have some last minute pointers. So this is the interview with my good friend Luke, a graduate of Vincent University, Purdue University, and now working in investments.
Hey,
Who once was a chef.
hello.
Hey, Braydyn, how are you?
Because he wants
Hey,
to
I'm
change
doing
the
all right.
world just like me. Here's
Let's
my
see
interview
here,
with
let me
Luke,
adjust this real
recorded
quick,
on
quick.
Wednesday,
Are you at
just
the
about
house
3
right
or
now?
4 days before the Indy
Yes,
500.
I am.
Here it is, folks.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Did you just get moved into your new place, or are you still trying to get moved in?
I actually moved in about a few weeks ago, so we were
Okay.
just getting
How's it going
settled
so far?
down. Mhm.
Okay. You like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Is it like a one bedroom or a studio
It's
situation?
it's a 3 bedroom.
Oh shoot. Okay. All right. Do you live by yourself or do you have roommates?
I mostly live by myself, but I should have other people moving in soon.
Okay. Do you know them or kind of um they're in a similar position as you?
They're in a similar position as me.
Okay. Cool, man. Love to hear it. Um, yeah, it's been so long, I guess, since it's probably been what, like 3 years?
It's been since our time at Vincent's.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were trying to go to one of the football games or basketball games a while back, and then scheduling and stuff, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I saw on LinkedIn you have a new job with IU.
Yes, I do. I'm an enrollment assistant.
Okay. And have you started then, or are you orientation and stuff starting soon?
We're actually starting orientation now, but they don't need me until June, so
Until June. Okay. How'd you find the job?
I found the job on LinkedIn.
Okay, nice. That's how I found my job too. So the power of LinkedIn and networking, I guess. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, that's fun. So is this just were you wanting to do this kind of podcast style and record this, or what were you thinking here? Or just kind of catch up?
I was thinking more podcast style, catching up, that
Okay.
sort of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Let me think. What podcasts do you have right now? I know a couple of your news articles and stuff you publish, but do you have a podcast now as well?
Yes, I do. It's on Spotify. I have two. Keeping things in the middle and then something else.
Okay. Let me see. I'll look it up here. How long have you been doing it for?
I've been doing this for a little while, probably about 2 or 3 years.
I always forget your name is spelled with two L or two Y's. All right. I see this now. Interesting. I'm not sure why I didn't come up with the podcast. What's the podcast name?
Keeping things in the middle with Braydyn, I think Bear-Lents.
On Spotify, it's trying to come up with a separate radio playlist, so I don't think that's you. I'll look it up after this though. Um, do you have like kind of some questions and stuff you want to work through, or just kind of chat it up?
More
Never done
chatted
this
up.
before. Okay, cool,
Hmm.
cool. Um, yeah. I guess first of all, when did you graduate from IU? I know it's been a journey for you.
I was supposed to graduate back in December, but then I graduated in this May because I had to catch
Hmm.
up on one more course.
Gotcha. Okay, so so you just graduated then?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you walk yet? I
Uh,
assume.
yes, I did.
Okay. How did that feel?
It felt awesome for the most part.
Cool, man. Who was there to support you?
My mother and my sister.
Okay. You have a younger sister, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes. What's the age gap between you guys?
About 7 years.
Oh, smokes. So um she's probably a sophomore, junior in high school.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And then are you guys from Bloomington? I always forget.
We're originally from Bloomington, but we grew up in Vincent and then moved to Bloomington several years ago.
Okay, gotcha. 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 Um, that's really cool. Do you know what your job entails now with the coordinator position?
What I'm doing is I'm actually working as like an assistant right now, trying to get
Mhm.
students enrolled in, and then doing this partially for a possible graduate student degree as well.
Ah, that's smart. Um, would you do something similar than what you got your bachelor's in then?
Actually, different. I plan to do
Okay.
social work.
Social work. Oh wow, that's cool. Um, fun fact: my sister went to Indiana Wesleyan for social work, and she got her master's, I think, from there. So, she loved it. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you do really good work within that field. So then, is this coordinator position just kind of like an in between as you kind of work through that, and then once you graduate with that degree, you would look to something in social work?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Do you have a specific like nonprofit or any I guess avenue within that you've looked at so far?
I'm hoping more something in IU health or
Okay.
something in the health related fields.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I know healthcare. They have really great benefits. I know that. I don't know a whole lot about certain positions and this and that, and what their jobs entail, but um, yeah, and probably I guess too with working for IU, you'd probably have like a pretty heavy discount with that degree if you went back.
Yes.
Okay, is that partially the reason kind of why you looked to get that job, or did it kind of work out that way?
It kind of worked out that way.
Okay, it's funny how those little things work out, I guess, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, no, that's really cool then. So I guess with facilitating that enrollment with students, is it like helping them throughout the process of applying, or is it more like once they apply, once they get accepted, what the next steps look like?
It's more about getting them into the system and then
Okay.
helping guide them along in scheduling and that sort of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure I probably worked with a couple of them for Vincent's and then when I was at Purdue as well, and I just didn't really think about it like that. So, um, really interesting. You never know. Maybe you could get into like academic advising. I don't know.
I hope so.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I think I guess we didn't have the same academic advisor at Vincennes since we studied different paths, but um, I remember I'm still in contact with all my advisors actually from school, so I know they do really great work, and maybe you could have some pretty cool connections as a coordinator. We'll see.
Oh,
So,
nice. Do you still
yeah.
know Hunter Wade?
Yeah, yep. I talk to him every now and then. Yeah, he's
Oh,
a
nice.
good buddy of mine. We lived together, right, for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, he has a great voice, and he's just, he's basically a 7-footer walking around. But I think living with Hunter just showed me like the different side to him. Um, but I love Hunter. Yeah, I think he's working at a news station right now. I think he was looking to change jobs, I think, recently, or maybe even go back to school. I don't know, since I think he has his associates, but he would be looking to get his bachelor's. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, do you talk to him much or something?
Sometimes.
Okay, yeah, he's a good one. Do you keep in contact with anyone else from Vincent's?
Only one other person, but I think
Okay.
his name's either Hunter or something like that.
I know there was another Hunter in the program, right?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, yeah. That's what Hunter used to mention it and stuff. I'm not sure if he got close to him, but when Hunter actually came to class, he would always talk about that stuff. I remember having to wake him up for a couple classes in college, and I couldn't do it anymore. I felt like his mother, so,
Yeah.
um, but no. Anything else going on in your life, Braydon? That's pretty exciting. You wanna talk about?
For the most part, just post grad life,
Mm-hmm.
figuring things out.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. It's weird just how much free time you have. I think was one of the biggest things I dealt with after I graduated with even working, an irregular job. Like I was a restaurant manager for a little while. Worked like 3 p.m. to 11 and then like would go to bed. Or typically it was like we shifted hours, so it was like 1 or 2 sometimes, but sometimes I wouldn't get home until 2 or 3 a.m. and then waking up at like 10. It was weird. No one was available between, 10 to 3 when I was available. So um, no one prepares you for how much free time I think you have outside of work. So,
Mhm.
but um, yeah. So I guess how far away now are you from your mom and your sister?
About 50 miles away down south.
Holy smokes! Oh my goodness. Um, has that been a transition for you? I guess right now.
That's been a pretty good transition.
Okay. You guys seem really close. I remember one time you were moving out or moving in, and I got to see your mother or your sister, and you guys seem really close. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're very
Um,
tight knit.
okay. You think your sister's gonna want to go to IU eventually?
We'll see with her, but I'm hoping so.
Okay. Keep it in the family. Um, yeah, that'd be really exciting. Um, how do you feel about the playoffs so far? NBA playoffs?
I'm so excited for the Pacers.
Yeah. I think this is the perfect window because with Boston being out, them, proving that they can beat a high caliber team, with the Cavaliers, even though they were a little bit, injured. I'm excited. Knicks are a tough out though, so we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Mhm.
Um, I was looking at Pacer tickets actually for this round, and they were just stupid expensive. So I might just watch it from my house instead. So,
Nice.
but um, yeah, how do you feel about the Pacers, man? Like, do you see them going all the way, or where do you think they're gonna fall short? I guess
I
in the
love
South.
this ride we're on right now. It's pretty enjoyable. Last season was enjoyable, but this season's a lot more different. Halliburton and company, they're just doing amazing right now. And I'm really hoping that I mean, it's kind of unlikely that we may push through, but it also might be very likely. The Knicks are hyping themselves up too much, but I think we'll play Oklahoma City.
Yeah, yeah. Um, we played the next 7 games last season, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. My only concern, I guess, not my only concern. When they played them, they were kind of injury prone, right? Last season, the Knicks.
Yes.
Yeah, like didn't OG hurt his hamstring or he got hurt, and then Brunson was not his full health either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think both teams got better. You Brunson kind of scares me in the third and fourth quarters. He takes over games. He's a maestro, but I think with the way the Pacers move the ball, like if they can get some transition points, get some turnovers, lead into that, and they shoot the ball well. Because I feel like the Knicks just slowed the game down a little bit more. They use more of the pick and rolls, and not all five guys are rotating as much as the Pacers. So, yeah, I'm excited. And then you have Caitlin Clark too, right, in Indy. So then the Colts drafted Tyler Warren from Penn State, right?
Yes.
Yep. So I feel like we're trending in the right direction. IU fired their head coach, right?
Yes. And now we got a guy in West Virginia, so
Okay. How do you feel about that?
kind of mixed. I'm hoping that there's results, and I hope we win a lot.
Um, was it he came from West Virginia, like as an assistant under Huggs or whatever his name is?
He was an assistant, but then he became the head coach,
Okay.
and now he coaches at IU.
Okay. Because I saw during the whole transfer portal like madness, IU had lost a lot of guys, right, and even grads and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you guys return this year? Do you know?
I think only one person, but other than that, we have a lot of transfers.
Wow. Did Gabe Coops or whatever leave?
Yeah, he did.
He did leave. Do you know where he transferred?
I think the Cincinnati or somewhere.
Interesting. So smaller market, maybe more playing time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because whatever his name, Trey Galloway, I felt like he had been there for like 6 or 7 years. So
Him and
glad
Anthony
he's
Leland.
finally leaving. Yeah. Trying to think. Don't they have Luke Goody as well? Or did he graduate?
He graduated.
Okay. Yeah, because Purdue we lost 2 or 3 guys, and then we reloaded, and I think we're preseason like 1 or 2, right? I think. So,
Yes.
I'm excited about that, man. But tickets nowadays are just insane to come by, like especially not being a student anymore. I'm sure you know, like if you've looked into tickets and stuff, but but yeah. Who have you interviewed so far on these podcasts? Like, who's your favorite guest so far?
Just you for right now.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm honored, Braydyn. I'm honored.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. What was I gonna say? You're a Colts fan too, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. How do you feel about the QB room for the Colts right now?
I think the more not so good. Don't feel
Yeah.
really good about it.
Because we have Richardson, and then we picked up Notre Dame's quarterback too, right?
Riley Leonard.
Yeah, I actually like him. I like his story. He didn't really amaze me, but he's a winner at least on that level. Don't we have another guy that's pretty old too?
I think so. We have Daniel Jones.
Oh, damn. Yep. That was a weird pickup. I don't understand that, but
Mm-hmm.
who knows? If he can revive his career a little bit, that would be nice. But yeah, because I felt like when Saquon left, obviously he joined a team that had an insane offensive line and Jalen Hurts. But yeah, if Daniel Jones can play anywhere like he should have been playing these years, like who knows with Richardson? I don't know. I wasn't impressed by him this last season, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Do you have any tickets coming up for any Indiana sports for yourself?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Because I know WNBA All Star is in Indy this year.
Yes, it is.
That'll be interesting. I was looking at tickets; those were pretty expensive too, man. It's weird. I don't. Do you play fantasy football at all or basketball?
For the most part, yes.
You do. Someone invited me to their WNBA basketball tournament, and that really threw me for a loop because I probably only know like 10 players in the league. So now looking at like the roster and IR and like available people. There's names I've never seen before in my whole life, so it's much different than looking at an NBA roster and knowing everyone from 1 through 10 on the roster, 1 through 12 or whatever they have. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I guess it would be really cool. I guess for NFL, we could do a fantasy thing, or if you already have a league or something, um,
Yeah,
that'd be a cool way to stay in touch through it.
I'd be interested.
hmm I kind of suck as a GM of sports right now because I check it like once a month and then I realize like half my players are injured. So if we ever match up, you'll probably beat me. So
Yeah, hopefully.
just just a heads up. Um, but yeah, sometimes I like Hunter. Me and Hunter were calling the other day, and sometimes we like to do like future projections for sports seasons coming up, and one of the topics was Giannis. So where do you think Giannis is going to land this summer?
I hope San Antonio, or I hope he stays in Milwaukee.
Interesting. I like that. Because the Spurs have probably don't they have like the second or third pick this season in the draft?
I think they were down a little more.
They might have been. It was a wonky lottery.
Very.
Yeah, yeah. You not saying that there's tampering, but if there was tampering, it looked like the Dallas Mavericks benefited from it. So,
Mm-hmm. Very.
you know, um, yeah, that Luca trade was crazy, and they didn't even shop him around. They could have gotten a boatload of picks or some actual assets that weren't Anthony Davis, and I forget the other guy that they traded for, but I don't know. It sounds crazy, but it'd be fun to see Giannis and Curry play. I don't know. But
Yeah.
they probably have to trade Jimmy Butler, Kuminga, probably a couple picks. Heck, maybe even Draymond. I don't know what they'd have to give up, but I don't know. So, um, let me think. Um, were you watching the Celtics game when Jason Tatum tore his Achilles?
Yes, I was.
You were. And he was having like the game of his life too. He had like 42 points, like 8 threes, and then who was it? Like Jalen Brown like turned the ball over, and then that led him to tearing it.
I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels awful, especially like he had been trying to kind of add to his resume and stuff. But um, yeah, we'll see. Do you think he'll sit out this whole season in 26, probably 25, 26?
I hope he can get back and have a full recovery.
We'll see. That's a pretty tough injury, right? The Achilles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like more people come back from ACL and Achilles. Like, or because I know Kobe came back and then did Clay tear his ACL and Achilles or both ACLs? Do you know?
I think it was both ACLs.
Both ACLs. Yeah, because he had rehab the entire season and then came back and was looking to make a push and then tore the other one, probably. Yeah, that's it. I think you're right.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Um, who do you think? Who do you think will win MVP between Jokic and SGA?
I liked SGA all season long.
Okay, you're an SGA guy.
For the most part, but I thought this whole season Oklahoma's been very dominant.
Yeah, yeah. It's like one of those debates for me. It's where it's like who had the best season and like stat wise, but also versus who's the best player. Like if you're rebuilding a team, would you rather have SGA or Jokic? But you can't always look at the MVP race as that because I feel like I'd rather have Jokic. I don't know about you, but um, I think it's about narratives too. Like SJ just hasn't had that MVP yet, and his team won like what, like 66 games or something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I that's fair, and in almost every win too, he's put up pretty good numbers and stuff. So um, yeah, we'll see. Do you know who like the third candidate would be? Because I've only heard of SGA and Jokic this season for MVP.
I'm not for sure.
Just have to look it up. Um, yeah. What are you doing in your free time now, Braydon?
For the most part, I'm just looking for jobs and careers, and then trying to do some like making YouTube videos, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You love making YouTube videos?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Um, what's your dream job?
My dream job is to hopefully one day be a videographer or a photographer,
Okay. Hmm. Within like the sports scene or just in general?
just in general.
Interesting. Okay. Really cool. Do you have that? Do you already have like a hobby for that, and you already have a nice camera for it and stuff?
I already have a good hobby with that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if you're making YouTube, do you use the same camera for YouTube as with photography then?
No,
Okay. What cameras do you use for this?
mostly a Canon T6, and then sometimes my phone,
Really? What kind of phone do you have?
Samsung.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I have an iPhone, but I've always heard good things about Samsung's just being a little bit more reliable too than iPhones. So they have a really nice camera too, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. It's crazy nowadays, like the technology we have just with our phones. Like we have a mini computer, a camera, a flashlight, um, a phone. It's crazy to think about. Um, do you play much basketball anymore?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Do you have a local YMCA, or do you like to go out to the park or something?
I usually like going out to the park.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember seeing at Vincent's play a little bit, so I just wondered if you kept that up.
That was how you and I first met. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I think I made most of my friends through basketball. Um, yeah, that's how I met Hunter, and then that's how I met Devon, my other friend, and then Nick Golab. That's how I met him, and then we became roommates. So, um, yeah, it's crazy just like the friendships and stuff made through basketball. So
yeah.
it's cool. It's cool. Um, what do you think? Um, I guess I've been asking a lot of questions. Sorry, Braydon.
Oh,
Anything
no
you'd like
worries.
to ask me, or any topics you want to discuss, or anything like that?
The biggest question I did want to ask was about like business and how are you? I mean, are you used to go from like chef to actual business owner now? So I didn't know how that transpired.
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird story. So yeah, so I did culinary school at Vincent's, and then about halfway through, I realized like I still have this passion for food and serving other people, but having a degree and working with food don't always correlate to each other, and one doesn't lead to the other. And I realized I wanted to get a bachelor's just to be safer in the future for job market wise. And with Vincent's program only being an associate's, I kind of pivoted to hotel and motel management. And then when I got to Purdue, I studied hospitality and tourism management. So a pretty general, like, career path for me. And thankfully had some internships with the same company at our local hotel, which is a Marriott branded hotel. And then from graduation, just got offered a manager and training program in the downtown area in Indy, which is hence why I'm still in Indianapolis. But yeah, did that for about a year and a half, managed the team, was front of house manager. So worked with servers, hosts, bartenders. Just absolutely loved it. Really poured all my everything into it. And um, yeah, I was working long hours. Thankfully, we was free food, so I didn't have to buy groceries a lot of the times. I just eat at the restaurant, eat lunches, sometimes even dinners. Um, and with Indianapolis being such a convention style hotel and city, I would have new groups every other week. We hosted, when I was there, Big Ten tournament for football. We hosted, religious coalitions. We hosted what NBA All-Star last season too. That was really fun. Indy 500 every year was a lot of fun. We'd have custom branded, like wine bottle or beer pints and stuff like that. Just the excitement of the city was just contagious. And I eventually hit a breaking point though with that. Like anything good in life, you kind of, I don't know. For me, it was just how much I poured into work and how much I didn't really get out of it. It was very a transactional business, and I had gotten away from serving people, I think, and it was more just, hey, I need this in return for this, and just didn't really feel much gratitude from it and like purpose. So, I think it was back in probably a year ago, honestly, to this point, I started looking for careers and jobs similar to what you're doing, and something that I'd been calling on my heart was the finance world. I always had an interest in personal finances. I made my first budget, when I was in college and tried to stick to it. And when I was working at P-Factions, the little deli in Vincennes. And I just, looked into my 401k when I got my first job and learned what a portfolio was and what, consisted of that, and started a Roth IRA for myself and opened up a couple of just small credit cards to try and build, debt or not debt, my credit score, in the future to try and save money on a mortgage. So, and I had always talked to with kind of my associates and employees just about, personal finances in general, just the ebb and flows of being a server. I'm not sure if you've ever worked as a server in your life, Braydyn, but it's not consistent money, and it's really hard to build a budget around if you don't know if you're going to make $800 this week or $400, right? So when I was looking for jobs, I was like, this would be a great path. Like, I want the flexibility of working home, remote, in the office. I still want to work with the team, but I want to have the autonomy to come and go as I please and not be bound by the four walls of my, my business or my company or, whoever I'm working for. Quit my job, I think back in September, and then joined Thrivent here in Carmel, Indiana. Not for profit, financial based organization as an advisor. So I don't own my own business technically. I'm technically a W-2 employee, but then I also have 1099 income coming in. So I'm a self-contractor from the government perspective. So I have the benefits of a Fortune 500 company, but I also have the ability to, make my own hours and branding as a self-employed, financial advisor. So that's kind of the leap of it. There's a lot of in-betweens of it, and having to study for 4 months, it felt like I was in college again. Took time off for that. I actually hit a pretty low point during that time where I kind of regretted quitting my job. It was my first salaried job. It was my first opportunity to work with the team. I had good benefits. I had finally understood what it meant to be a manager, I felt like, and then I kind of gave it up for a different calling. And when I hit rock bottom studying, I failed a couple of my exams actually by 1%. And, some of those you can retake instantly, and others you have to wait a month to take. And I guess during that time, it really challenged me. But once I got through all that, kind of solidified like why I chose this career path, and, working with families now and like young couples and professionals, it's really cool just talking through their goals and what they want to do and aspirations. And, even with you, Braydyn, kind of starting your own career path right now, and, that financial foundation, what does it look like? And, it's not just, dollar signs, what's coming and going. It's kind of the heart math of it. Like, how does money make you feel? And, using it as a tool versus a goal, right? Everyone wants to be a millionaire, but why do you want to chase that? And at what cost? Is it worth giving up family time for it? Is it worth not being around on the holidays? Is it worth working 80 hours a week? You just kind of have to look at yourself in the mirror and understand why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, working at the hotel, I had missed like 3 holidays actually with my family. And, it's similar to you, like my family and I are really tight, and I have 3 other siblings, and just being able to be with them during the holidays is everything to me. And I remember I had worked Thanksgiving one year, and I was miserable. Like, we were super busy at the hotel, and one of my managers, actually, and we're still close to this day, she brought me or Thanksgiving from her family Thanksgiving, and she was off that day, but she came into the restaurant in downtown Indy to give me food, and I almost broke down. It was just, I don't know, I just, nothing's worth missing holidays to me. And that's kind of where I drew the line. And, for you in the future, if you ever have a family or kids or whatever that looks like, what you find important, being able to draw those lines, I think is really important. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question a little bit.
That was a pretty good answer. I think your story is pretty inspiring. So, how would you tell like young kids out there? What would be your message to them, like relating to your experience?
Yeah, I think whatever career path or whatever endeavor you take, go head first into it. Be a sponge, learn as much as you can, but also know that you're not pigeonholed by whatever you do. Um, you're giving as much time as a company is giving back into you. So knowing that it's not the end of the world if you change jobs, it's not the end of the world if you take a leap of faith on yourself. Um, if you're gonna do something, do it great. But if you're gonna change and pursue something else, go all in, man. Don't don't try and do half this, half that. Like, and for me, I poured everything into the hotel, and it just didn't work out. But it's, if you're gonna do something like that, don't burn any bridges too. A lot of people kind of put their pride on the line, and um, yeah, it's hard leaving any job. I think, especially knowing that what you thought you were gonna do. But yeah, I guess just to answer your question, just go all head in and whatever you do, and um, show up to work with a great attitude, and get to know everyone's names. You don't want to be that person who walks into the room and no one knows you and you don't know anyone. So, it's really hard to, for, I used to be pretty introverted for a long time. And I think working in the industry, but also just being around people taught me like just the power of connectivity and the power of someone's name too. And even knowing how to spell it correctly, it's the utmost respect, and acknowledging them and asking about their weekends and stuff like that. So, you know, be a good friend and a good employee at the same time. And whatever avenue you take, doors won't be closed. So, but yeah.
That's a really good message because I actually fell into this when I was in the broadcasting major. I used to be a broadcast major, then a journalism major at IU. And then I found it very difficult to make relationships with people that at that time I loved my experience in VU broadcasting, but I absolutely hated my experience once I got into IU with journalism, and they made it such a hard time for me. So I really wanted to go out there, venture into another career path, which is what's leading me to possibly getting a master's degree later and helping others. Because once I found like religion, that was what really helped me and really spurred in the moment to be like, I don't need to be around a bunch of toxic people anymore.
Dude, that's everything. Um, are you referring to like Christianity or Catholicism?
More Catholic.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Were you raised Catholic, Braydyn?
I was, but myself, I wasn't until about my sophomore year of college.
Cool. So exciting. Um, I guess side note, we can get back to whatever we were talking about, but um, I just heard so many things about the new Pope. How do you feel about it?
I love the new pope. He's very relatable and from Chicago, so
He's from Chicago. He's a Villanova guy too, right?
yes.
Wildcat for life. Um, yeah, no, that's really cool to hear that. It's, we're like these little ping pong balls, and life is just kind of like going up and down. A pinball machine, and you're gonna get tossed around a little bit, and you're gonna go down certain avenues and certain paths, and life is equally about knowing what you want, but also knowing what you don't want. And for you to step away, from maybe those environments or people is, I think it's really telling to your character, and just your pursuit of, greatness, and not allowing other people's what they say or think about you to, influence you. That was huge. I know when I left the hotel, it was really hard for me knowing that, like, I might be viewed as a quitter, or, I might be viewed as I couldn't handle the industry, or, so many statistics about managers that quit after a year, this and that. And, when I fell victim almost to those statistics was really hard for me to kind of swallow because, similar to you, you work 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of your life for these careers. And then for you to realize, oh man, I don't love this. Like, I had a panic, I was in panic mode for a while. And, I just hope that, in the future, like, not only does this coordinator position treat you right and you meet some great people, but in the future, it launches into maybe what skills can you take from this job and connections you make into social work and, pursuing that post grad degree. So, um, really cool. I'm proud of you, man. Um,
Thanks.
yeah. Were you attending like a pretty solid church kind
Uh,
of when you started?
right now, I was figuring out the church,
Mhm.
and I'm still hoping that I can, because I did get called to actually serve a higher being, so I'm hoping that can work out in the near future.
Oh, like higher being, just like an actual person, or are you talking more just like metaphorically, like God?
God.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that first. Um, yeah, I guess I'm not sure if you knew, but I was raised Christian growing up and didn't really knew what that meant and what that looked like lifestyle wise, and I didn't run away from it, but I definitely didn't accept it. And partially, actually, the reason I left the hotel was kind of that religious piece of just feeling like at the end of the day, in 20 years, 50 years, 80 years, I'm going to be dead. What do I have to show for it? I love serving people, but the way I'm doing it is it's very much I'll give you a cheeseburger if you guys give my servers a good tip. And it kind of just it diluted what hospitality meant to me. And then knowing that um, there's just such a um, an abrasion towards religion, I think, in service industry in general. With some maybe just my staff, I wasn't sure, but it was really hard for me to start living out my faith in the way I wanted to in pursuit of a higher purpose like you. And Thrive, side note, is actually a Christian based organization. Um, so yeah, we're for since it's not a not for profit, we do a lot with organizations and churches and giving back to the community and stuff like that, which I love. Like I just recently did a yard sale with my mom, and Thrive gave me $250 to use towards her yard sale and feeding the volunteers and stuff. And um, all those donations went to a nonprofit that helps support stray animals in the Monticello area, if you know where that's at. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's anyone can work a 9 to 5, but what are you doing in the 5 to 9? What are you working? Where what are you doing in your off days, right? And not only protecting yourself and investing in yourself and potentially going to church, right? But are you called to lead other people? Are you a leader of man? Are you, you know, hands and feet service, for a higher calling? So, yeah, I really respect you for, I guess, opening up that door within this conversation. So,
And so describe to me a little bit about like your company or your career now. I was not a big finance guy, so I was wondering what you do now.
yeah. Yeah. So, like most financial advisors, it can kind of be broken up into the most typical ways, just investments. So, if you have a brokerage account or if you have a 401k that you left your job, you can't take a 401k with you. So, typically, you have to liquidate that into cash and take a penalty, or you'll have to roll that into just a traditional retirement account, an IRA. So for me as an advisor, I work a lot with accounts like that, college savings accounts, if you've heard of a 529 plan, different custodial accounts you can have. We do banking as well. So we do have a credit union that turned into a bank. So we have high interest savings accounts, if you've heard of them, where you can get just a higher interest on, the money that you have. And then we also deal with, insurance. So if you know anything about, life insurance or something else called disability income insurance. It helps protect your income. And Thriven's point of view is, what's the most important asset, Braydyn, besides your family and yourself? It's your job, right? It's your income, because your income cash flows, what you can do with it, if that's paying off rent, if that's utilities, if it's paying off student loans, if you have any, buying groceries, having a good time with your friends. So we handle a lot of insurance, and then yeah, just working with families in general. Just, hey, what are your goals? What are your needs? What are your wants? What do we have to do to get you there? And then how do we factor in the economy? How do we factor in, these variables that, even as an advisor, I'm not, I'm not God, right? I can't predict the future, but I can hedge against risk. And you can use historical, averages and, what the market has done to help mitigate some of the risk, and even some of that, people are afraid right now, Braydyn. A lot of my clients are, it's with tariffs and everything, and, with any presidency, it comes with change too, right? But it's like with all these things factored in, how can we affordably save for retirement or save for our college to go to like a Vincennes or a Purdue or an IU, right? So that's kind of what I do on a daily basis. It consists of a lot of meetings, via Zoom, kind of like this, or in-person meetings too. I love. So, kind of combines the hospitality of meeting people and serving them, and then the finances side of it, where I can kind of geek out a little bit. So, yeah, that's kind of what I do, I guess, in a nutshell. So, thanks for asking.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then does your company still do things with the Indy 500 or no?
We don't like sponsor. We don't do any sponsorships with Indy 500. I know. I guess I don't know. Um, yeah, I know that's not something that we have our hands on. There might be other advisors that have more of a calling, with that space and might serve. I know I tried to go to some networking events associated with Indy 500 and some of the festivities. Um, but no, I mean, it's really cool. I haven't really told a lot of people this, but got in contact with a referee, and um, he does some really great work. He started a nonprofit himself. So that's kind of my calling card, is working for nonprofits and small business owners. But he eventually got me in contact with someone who helps run Tyrese Halliburton's summer camp. So got into contact with their director, and I actually should be helping out with his camp here in, it's either June or July. I'll have to look. But it's, this job has given me the opportunity to serve the community and also combine sports. And I love the idea of like working with youth too. And then you throw in a human being like Tyrese Halliburton, one of the smiliest guys ever. He seems like a great guy too. So yeah. So it's not directly Indy 500, but getting into some of the niche things I'm interested in has been cool to see.
And then the last question, because I know that you might have had a busy day and stuff, so I just wanted to wrap it up after this question. How you mentioned Tyrese Halliburton, you mentioned sports. And kids, how do you think that helping with kids and sports, what kind of impact does that have for you?
For me, yeah, I think it kind of intentionally slows down my life and puts my priorities and my goals and aspirations on the sidelines. It kind of just brings me back to my youth, almost kind of that livelihood, that just that carefree, like, hey, I just want to be with my friends and play basketball. And knowing how many people in my life have impacted me when I was a youth at that age, and knowing not only that maybe I could play a pivotal role in some of their lives and upbringing, but just, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to tie it back to like fatherhood and stuff, but it's definitely something I want to pursue in the future, is having kids. And working with kids is just, it's amazing. I'm not sure if you've worked with kids a lot, but I think just for me, it's knowing that they're the next generation. So whenever you do and say that help influence that and impact that, could have generational impact, I think. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, kids are fun, man. Kids are smiley. They're bubbly. Um, and I've always really had a kind of a heart for the underdog too, and in school and in sports. Obviously, I love kind of rooting for them too. But just working with kids too, you can definitely kind of start seeing how cliques and how this and that are, and engaging just with someone who might be a little quieter or someone who's not as engaged, even like making them smile. I think is so much fun, and so yeah.
Yeah. I knew you said you wanted to play basketball when you were younger too, so
hmm Yeah. Um, it's a beautiful game, man. Sports are they keep you young, and that childish kind of pursuit, of winning just a simple game or this and that, the competitive side of it too. But it just brings people together. It's kind of like food to me. Sports and food are kind of my some of the most important things in my life outside of family and faith. Like just knowing that you know it impacts your health, both food and exercise, but knowing that it's meant to be together with other people. So, but yeah.
hmm
Um, any other questions, Brain? That was really cool. Really, really well constructed.
no, that's about it.
Yeah. It was a pleasure, man. I don't know how much time you have today, but um, always love getting to chat with you. So we'll have to do this more often.
Yeah, we really need to do this more often, and I have missed seeing you for a really long time.
Hmm. Yeah, that means a lot. I know we always say it, but man, we got to get something on the calendar for some sports thing we're both interested in. So, are you living? You said in Bloomington right now,
More Lagodi, but Bloomington,
right?
yes,
How far away is that from Indianapolis?
about an hour.
That's doable, right?
hmm
Do you drive?
I'm beginning to.
Okay, cool. Are you working towards like a license and stuff like that then?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. It's exciting. Are you looking at cars yet?
Yeah, I'm looking at cars.
Okay. What kind of car do you want?
More a 2016 Honda Accord.
Love it. My brother drives, I think, a 2011 Honda Accord. It's white, so um, those things last, man. Honda and Toyota should always be someone's first choice, I think. Um, do you have someone in mind that you're going to buy from, or just a used car dealership?
More somewhere like Andy Moore, Curry, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, more of an establishment. Yeah. Well, it's really cool. When that happens, we will have to meet up sometime. Or with my job now, I don't mind driving. So I'm assuming probably Purdue plays IU at IU this year.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess we played both, right, this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we lost to you guys both times, right?
You lost to us once in basketball, and then we beat
Yeah.
you guys. So,
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, I was watching that game. Oh, where, blah, 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 blah. In Assembly Hall, did you guys beat us? Is that it?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was watching the game at a local Purdue bar, actually, funny enough, with some buddies of mine, and that was miserable. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. We got Braden Smith back, so we'll get our revenge here soon. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
we'll have to do this like once a month or quarterly or something like that, Braden. So let me know.
Sounds good.
I'm available. But yeah, meantime, yeah, let me know if you have anything else or if you want to chat another time.
Sounds good.
Cool. Appreciate it. Well, um, I'll see you when I see you, hopefully.
I'll see you when I see you.
Is that what they say?
Mhm.
But yeah, take care, Brady.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye.
Of course. Of course. Bye.
Bye.